Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our temple, I warmly welcome each of you to this evening Dhamma talk. Though we are connecting from various locations, it is heartening to see so many devoted practitioners joining us from their homes. We are deeply honored to have with us Venerable Panadure Chandaratana Thero, who is speaking to us from Sri Lanka. Venerable Chandaratana Thero is a respected and learned monk, as well as an experienced meditation teacher, whose teachings have guided many on path of Dhamma. His dedication to the study and practice of the Buddha's teachings, along with his deep understanding of meditation, continues to be a source of inspiration for practitioners around the world. This evening, Venerable Chandaratana Thero will share his insights on Majjhe Sutta, helping us deepen our understanding and cultivate a more mindful and compassionate way of living. Without further delay, let us warmly welcome Venerable Chandaratana Thero, and I very respectfully invite to deliver Dhamma talk. Bless you.
Yeah. Theruwan Saranai Swamin Wahanse, thank you very much for the introduction. I warmly welcome all of you to this session. And so let me share the screen. So as you all know, I am going to deliver the Dhamma talk on Majjhe Sutta. This is presented by Mrs. Srinita Pereira. So let's begin with paying respect to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yo ubhante viditvana majjhe manta nalippati. Tambrumi mahapurisoti sodasibbani maccagati ti. Dear Venerable Bhante, Dhamma friends, so as you all can see, Majjhe Sutta is what we are going to discuss today. It's a very interesting sutta available in the Anguttara Nikaya, and it's actually based on a very interesting incident. So while Buddha was dwelling in Isipatana, so Isipatana, as you all can familiar, is the place where Buddha delivered his first Dhamma sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and this is the same place that Buddha was dwelling, and certain elder bhikkhus came together and they started a kind of a Dhamma discussion, kind of an assembly, and it is particularly mentioned that assembly hall is a kind of a circular pavilion, and now they have gathered there and they were discussing on a particular verse Buddha delivered in the Parayana Vagga. You know that the Parayana Vagga is very interesting area in the Sutta Nipata, in the Kuddaka Nikaya Sutta Nipata. Certain deep verses are included there. Actually, it's a very interesting story where 16 ascetics, who are the students of Venerable, this old Brahmin called Bhavari, and they actually came to meet the Buddha. They were asking questions through their mind, and Buddha understanding their mind and answering through the words. And among them was one called Tissa Metteya, and once he asked a question, Buddha gave him an answer. This answer is what the theme for this Majjhe Sutta. So the answer verse, Yo ubhante viditvana majjhe manta nalippati tambrumi mahapurisoti soida sibbani majjagadi. Now in this verse, so there are certain areas which are little problematic. Having understood both ends, Yo ubhante viditvana majjhe manta nalippati, the wise one does not stick in the middle. Tambrumi mahapurisoti, I call him a great man, so idha sibbani maccagati. He has here transcended the seamstress. Now here it's a kind of a puzzle we still don't know what are the ends. So what are the first end, what is the second end, and what is the in the middle, and who is the seamstress. So this is a kind of a puzzle, and so seems to have these venerable monks, the elder monks, actually didn't know exactly what Buddha meant. So they are now giving various answers. Now those answers are very interesting answers, by the way, and in one sense we can call them very much like a kamatahan, kind of a meditation instruction from different point of view. So actually in the sutta they were ordered in a different way, but I am taking them in a way so that it is easy for us to understand. So among one of the elder monks, one monk suggested past as the one end and future as the other end, and middle is the present. Now this is also a very interesting explanation, because you know that all of us typically linger in the past and dream about the future and not much establish in the present moment. So that's why the whole practice of satipatthana, the whole practice of mindfulness is quite relevant to us, because typically our minds are habituated or familiar either in the past or the future. We actually have to purposely train the mind to live in the present. So here one explanation therefore is a kind of a reasonable explanation, where one monk is telling, okay, one end is the past, where we are continuously dreaming, thinking, proliferating, remembering, all that are there, and either we live there or else we think about the future, fantasize or dream, and we are living in the future. So that is the other end. So those are typically known to all of us, so we are very familiar with it. But now if we are able to live in the present, so that is in a way a little difficult. That is something that we need in a way certain amount of practice, and we have to be wise. Now what is the seamstress? Seamstress here is the craving, who is always tangling between the past and the future. So past and future is always connected to our mind, and again we attach to the past, maybe some interesting incident, or we dream about a future incident. So the seamstress, craving is actually fairly influential to our mind to dwell either in the past or the future. Now if one is able to establish mindfulness in the present moment, so that is one situation where we are trying to be free from either the past or the future and try to dwell in the present moment. And here interestingly, even in the present moment we don't have to stick to that. Later through vipassana one can even let go of the present moment. It is not that we are trying to attach to the present moment or grasp the present moment, but at least we have to establish in the present moment. Later we can practice, and later we can even give up the present moment. So likewise we can see the first answer as I have selected here, past, future and the middle as the present, is also really a valid answer, and it's easy for us to understand. Now if we get into another answer given by another venerable monk, he is telling pleasant feelings are the one end, painful feelings are the other end, neither painful nor pleasant feelings are the middle. So this is also very interesting and easy to understand. Now we all know that we like to have pleasant feelings, pleasurable feelings, and therefore we attach to it. So that is one kind of a drawback there, because we all love to be happy and we all love to have pleasurable feelings, and often it is mentioned that people are driven by the pleasure principle. So we often, through craving, we get attached to this pleasant feelings. On the other hand, when there are painful feelings, we always want to get rid of it, and we don't want to go through any suffering. We are trying to go away from suffering. That's a painful feeling. Now these are the two ends. So we are actually switching from pain to pleasure, and say again pleasure to pain. So always kind of a switching happens. So these are the two ends typically our minds associate. Because the middle, that's an equanimous feeling, is very much like we consider like boring, and it is very much unnoticed. Even though it is available, we often unnotice it. We don't want to dwell there. Rather, we like to have some pleasant experience and want to get rid of the painful experience. So therefore, if one is practicing oneself to, in one sense, to be in the present moment, as I discussed in the previous one, so there are some sort of a boredom could be experienced, which is in a way we can say neutral. Say for example, you are practicing Anapanasati. So it's a kind of a neutral feeling. It doesn't produce real happiness at the beginning, and maybe a little boring, and you might feel even sleepy, difficult, because it doesn't really appeal the mind. Typically mind wants to go through some pleasurable feeling, or in the kind of we want to get rid of the painful feeling. Even while meditating, if there are certain aches, pains, etc., you want to quickly get rid of that. So that's the attitude we all have. But if we are going through the practice, so probably we are very much like trying to be in the middle. That is actually the neither painful nor pleasant feeling, equanimous feeling we can say. Interestingly, this now we can go a little deeper. So unknowingly, if we simply attach to pleasant feelings and always crave for pleasant feelings, it is mentioned like in the certain suttas, Chula Vedalla Sutta, for example, it can produce certain kind of latent tendencies. It can actually motivate, strengthen latent tendencies. Actually, we all prefer pleasant feelings, but continuously we attach to them, continuously we crave for them. So as a result of that, we are very much like strengthening defilements, we can say. What we call the raga anusaya, the latent tendency to lust. On the other hand, say you are trying to get rid of pain, you want to be free from that, you are struggling for that, craving for pleasurable feelings. So there you are hating the type of this painful feeling. Still strengthening certain defilements, what we call the patiga anusaya, the latent tendency to ill will. So the typical mundane way of handling feelings, therefore, is a way of developing defilements, increasing defilements. But on the other hand, if we are able to recognize, fully awake even to the equanimous feelings, that is a different area. Sometimes we don't even careful about that. We don't even want to search that. But if through meditation, if you are more and more familiar with that equanimous feelings, Buddha say, if you know equanimous feeling, there are the knowledge is there, kind of a vijja, what you call the understanding is there. Not knowing is kind of an ignorant thing. So not knowing equanimous feeling can lead to what we call avijja anusaya, latent tendency to ignorance. But if we are trying to be awake, be sensitive to the equanimous feeling, can lead to the understanding. So this is another very interesting area, particularly in the meditation. So you can see the meditation objects, kammatthana, certain meditation objects, many meditation objects are based on this neutral feelings. The objects given are more neutral. They are not really pleasurable, they are not really painful, they are very much neutral. It may be rising and falling, it may be breathing, it may be mindful walking. So they are very ordinary, neutral activities. So that is another area, another answer given by one venerable monk. And let's go to another answer. So we are going a little deeper and deeper. I am taking easier answers first, so that we can gradually go to the depth. And another answer given by venerable monk is that the 6 internal bases. You know that we have 6 internal sense bases: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. So those are called the 6 internal sense bases. So they are considered as one end, and their corresponding external sense bases are there. Those are the rupa, that is the sights, then saddha, those are the sounds, gandha, the smells, rasa, the taste, tangibles, the pottabba, and the mental objects, dhamma. Say through the eyes we can deal with the sights. Through our ears we can deal with the sounds. Through the nose we can deal with odors. Say through the tongue we can recognize the taste. Through the body we can recognize various tangibles. And again through the mind we can know various mental objects. So this is how we are dealing with the whole world. So world is nothing but these 12 sense bases, or we can simply say 12 bases, 6 internal and 6 external. Actually Buddha mentioned in summary, in essence, so this is what is called as the world. It's a very, in a way, kind of a philosophical area where we think this world is very complicated, really complex, and even the outside worlds are there, the galaxies are there. But still we can see it's fairly, through our senses we recognize them, we are trying to understand them. So therefore, when Buddha is telling, okay, monks, I am going to tell you about the world, this is nothing but eye, sights or visuals, ear, sounds, nose, smells, tongue, taste, body, tangibles, mind, and the mind objects. Very much like kind of a challenge, because we have fairly complicated our experience and we think this world is very complex. But Buddha in a way simplify it and simply trying to explain, okay, what you all know, what you all experience, what you comprehend as the world is nothing but these 6 internal sense bases and 6 external sense bases. Now what is the middle? So this is another area kind of interesting and again kind of challenging. Probably you hear the Madhupindika Sutta, probably you have heard about it. Chakkuncha paticca rupecha uppajje chakku viññānaṁ tinnaṁ sangati passu. Now chakku viññāna, the eye consciousness, is a product of eye and the form. So these are little technical. By the way, I hope some of you are familiar with it. Now eye and the form generates the eye consciousness. Eye consciousness is the product of these two, and it's basically dependent on eye and the form. So similarly, ear consciousness is dependent on ear and the sound. When they are meeting together, so we can say, okay, the ear consciousness produced a reason. So similarly, nose and odor helps to produce this nose consciousness. Then tongue and the taste helps to produce or cause to produce the tongue consciousness. Body and the tangibles cause to produce body consciousness, and mind and the mental objects cause to produce mind consciousness. And I hope this is also little familiar to you. But interestingly, this consciousness part is fairly hidden. So we immediately get attracted to the outside object. Suppose that you are watching a beautiful sight, say it's a beautiful flower, and you immediately get attracted to the flower and you now want the flower and you are maybe craving for that flower. So you are very much like standing with the external object. Or else you can simply say, oh, this flower belongs to me. So you are now coming to your side, that is the internal sense based side. And again you are very much like being a person, being an individual, being so and so. And you are very much like staying on this end. So we can see the logic here. Either we are attracted to the external end, second end, or else we are attracted to the internal end, that's the first end. So we are always lingering between these two ends, not knowing the middle. So the middle is the consciousness. So therefore this answer is a very interesting answer, fairly valid for our practice, giving a very good indication to our practice. So when we are using our senses, often we can see, am I attracted to the external object? Sight, sound, smells, taste, tangibles, mental object. Am I attracted to that? Am I standing with it? Am I holding it? Am I grasping it? Have I identified with it? Have I made a person out of that? Or have I been a person as an experiencer in my side? So you can become a seer, one who is seeing, or you can become a kind of a listener. You can become a person who is going through experiencing an odor, a person who is experiencing the taste, a person who is experiencing the tangibles, or you can become a thinker. So there are thoughts, I know them, and I am the one thinking. So these thoughts belong to me. So you can see now we are going a little deeper, where we can create a person. In another sense, we can create a personality view, what we call the Sakkaya Ditthi, on any of these sides. Either on the external side, we consider it as one single unit, one object, something very important, something very beautiful, and we get attracted to it, and we can create, okay, this belongs to me, this is myself, or I am inside it. Whatever the form, we can create a person there either. That's in the external side. Or else you can create a person onto your side, internal side as well. Now, these are actually how we are operating in the society. Say when you are going through some experience, either you are attracted or sort of repelled, but in any case you are being a person. We promote the personality. We promote the personality view, the sense of I, but we forget about the action of the consciousness. So the action of the consciousness is very hidden like. So our craving actually always either put us on the external sense or either put us on the internal sense, forgetting about the consciousness. Now this is the area actually we have to in one sense develop, because through the practice, through our vipassana practice particularly, what we are trying to do is to understand this function of the consciousness. Now you can see even in the next answer, the consciousness is the middle, taken as the middle. Now there are certain types of meditation. Now probably you have heard about Ayatana Bhavana in the Satipatthana Sutta, something called Ayatana Bhavana in the Dhammanupassana section. The idea is that assume that you are watching something. While you are watching it, there may be a possibility that you can go through some sort of a sanyojana, some sort of a fetter. So you get attracted to something and you are craving for that. So that's a fetter arising, kind of a defilement arising. Say you are listening to music and you might get attracted to it, and again you are developing certain defilement. Say you are tasting maybe a delicious food, you are attracted to it, you are craving for that, you have a greed for that. Again, in a way, you are developing certain amount of defilement. So likewise, our sensual experience. So we all have 6 senses, internal 6 senses, and those corresponding external sense bases, and those experiences in a way helping to develop defilements. Now in the practice, if we are able to merely see something without developing defilements, without increasing defilements, if we are able to merely hear something without developing defilements, if we are able to merely smell, taste, touch without developing defilements, and again if there are thoughts coming in and going, but we are not developing defilements, so there you can see it's really a safe land that we have found. Otherwise what we do continuously as a result of our living, still we are promoting defilements. Probably you can remember the kind of instruction that Buddha has given to Venerable Bahir. ditte dittamattam bhavissati, sute sutamattam bhavissati, mute mutamatam bhavissati, viññāte viññātamattam bhavissati. So they are ditte dittamattam bhavissati. You can see things, but don't proliferate on that. Don't get involved on that. Don't allow the mind to get sort of tangled in it. Similarly, you might hear something, but don't get tangled in it. So you try to maintain your maybe mindfulness, we can say, or you can simply even much deeper sense, you can say maintain the unattached mind. On the other hand, when you are going to some smells, tastes, tangibles, are you able to maintain undefiled, unattached, equanimous type of a mind? On the other hand, say when there are thoughts or ideas coming in your mind, are you able to maintain some sort of unattached, unattracted, undefiled state of mind? So these are the areas actually we can explore. Certain indication is given here through the Majjhe Sutta, where rather than promoting craving, which is the one actually attaching us either into the 6 internal sense bases or attaching us or locating us to the external sense bases. So how about knowing the function of the consciousness? So this is really a deep subject. To understand the consciousness, actually Venerable Sariputta mentioned in the Mahavedalla Sutta, you have to develop the wisdom. Panya bhave tabba viññānam pariññaya. So you need to develop wisdom in order to understand the function of the consciousness. So it's a very interesting area, but challenging area. Because often what happens is, either we live in the 6 internal bases, or either we live in the 6 external bases. So that is our way of life. We forget about the function of the consciousness. The seamstress is the craving. Now you can see this answer is much deeper, and it's a very valid answer, and here really directed us towards the practice. Now we can get into another answer which is really subtle in a way. So another answer given, one end is the name, the nama, and the second end is called the rupa, the form. Middle is the viññāna, the consciousness. Now probably you have heard about the Parisavuppada, avidya pacca sankhara, sankhara pacca viññānam, viññāna pacca nama rupam, nama rupa pacca salayatanam. I mean, you are familiar with this statement, this kind of a formula. Now there, nama rupa pacca viññānam. So this answer is fairly related to that. So nama rupa pacca viññānam. This nama rupa pacca viññānam, what is nama? So there are the definition given in the, for example, in the Sammaditthi Sutta of Majjhima Nikāya. When Sariputta again explains, Vedana, Sanya, Cetana, Passa, Manasikara. Vedana is the feeling, Sanya, the cognition or recognition, various perceptions, signs. Cetana, the intention, volition. Passa, the contact, Manasikara, the intention, rather the attention. But these are the very primordial or very fundamental basic type of chetasikas, mental factors. We are talking at the name level, at the nama level. So what is rupa? So there the rupa is actually the sign of a particular object, maybe particular, say, external object. Rupa sanya. So that is actually the rupa there. Probably you are familiar with the rupa khanda, the form aggregate. So form aggregate Buddha defines as the earth, water, fire, and the what we call the air, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. So these are the typical elements which are comprising of this whole physical world. This is an explanation given by the Dhamma in the Buddha's teaching, where the whole physical world, according to the Buddhist teaching, we can categorize, explain using these 4 primary elements. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. Wherever you can experience, you can see the characteristics of the earth element, characteristics of the water element, characteristics of the fire element, and characteristics of air element. This is an explanation, a simplified explanation of this whole physicality. Now, when we are experiencing such a physical world, so what we do, we objectify them, we give a name to them, and this is my car, this is my house, this is my watch, this is my laptop, this is my, say, brush, this is my, say, mirror. Different things are there, various components are there, various objects are there in our house, in our office, through the road, wherever. Now all these we name and we give them a particular label. Now when we are experiencing them, we basically catch their certain notes, catch their certain features, catch their certain figures, their colors. All that actually help us to recognize that as an object. All gets stored to some extent. Some are being stored in our mind. Later, even when that object is not in front of you, you can remember that object. Now suppose you are going through a certain journey and you have seen a waterfall, a really beautiful waterfall. After coming back home, you still can remember that. You can even, if you want to intensify that experience, probably you can even close your eyes and you can remember, easy to recall what you have seen. So there we can say we are in a way reliving that experience, what we have gone through, and name and form is actually maintaining a really big role. Now here, to give a better explanation here, so what happened when we are remembering it, when we recall it, either I am the one recalling it, I am the one experiencing it. So this name side, so the mental factors side, knowing part, cognition part, helps to make a person. Or else you have the form side, so that is actually a mental impression, we can say, a kind of a mental image. But rather than seeing it as a mental image, that also we objectify. We simply say, oh, that is a beautiful waterfall, again I want to see it, again I want to go there. So you make a object at your very subtle experience. You can't merely keep it as an experience, rather you create a special object there. It's a kind of a trap. So craving is the one really manipulating this whole process. So craving playing a really manipulative process here, in a hidden role here. Whenever I am remembering my past experience, various sights are going on in my mind, various, say, visualizations going in my mind, mental objects going on in my mind, and certainly thoughts are also popping up. Now mind gets filled with various mental images, and I am the one experiencing it. Now you create a person out of your past experience. Now you get tangled in it, and you being a person, you are recalling your past, you are reliving your past, you being an individual, you being a person. You are able to connect those past dots and make a straight line, and you can say, I am the one who was there, now I am the one recalling it, so I am there. You confirm your existence, you confirm your sakkayaditthi, you confirm your personality view, you confirm your individuality. And on the other hand, say the mental image side, the form side, so their object we extend to some other place and we want to go there. I have seen that object maybe last week, so I have a photo of that waterfall. So likewise you objectify that. Probably you want to own that, you want to belong that. Again you want to visit there. So there's an objectification happens at the other end. So again a kind of a complicated process here. So I'm actually, rather than seeing it as a mental object or rather mental form, mental image, I am making the things very, very complicated, very, very complex, get tangled in it. Now I want to go there, I want to look at it, I want to explain it to another person, I am writing a book about that, what I have seen. Probably you have taken several photos of that object and you want to go through them again. So likewise, we forget about the function of the consciousness here also. Now all this happens on the screen of the consciousness. Now here the function of the consciousness is forgotten because the craving is playing a manipulative role. Craving is playing a role where we are either attached to the our side, I am the one knowing it, I am the one seeing it, I am the one who has gone through the experience. So we are latched onto the one end, first end we can say. Or else, I want to go there, this is a beautiful waterfall, I want to write a book about the waterfall. So we are either latched onto the other end. We forget about the function of the consciousness. This is actually a very subtle area compared to the previous even explanation. This is again a really subtle explanation. Now the function of the consciousness is very much like a screen. On top of the screen we actually got the projection of all our past memories. But we forget about the consciousness function. We are being attracted to what is being shown, what is being projected. The underneath whole manipulation happens because of the craving. Now you can see it's a really deep answer given here. Now we are coming to another answer. This is actually the first answer given by the Venerable monk, but I have taken as the fifth answer for our easy explanation, easy understanding. He says contact as one end, that is the first end, and arising of contact as the second end. Middle is called the cessation of contact. Sparsha nirodha, passa nirodha. Now this is also a little difficult to understand. What is contact and what is the arising of contact? Let me explain from a simple answer. Say for example you are watching a movie and now you are going through the movie, you are almost like it's going to end and you feel a little bored on that movie. Now you are switching the movie, that particular channel, to a different channel. Suppose in that different channel there's a song being played. Now you start watching that song. So when you are watching that song, experiencing that song, again you feel delighted, you feel happy about it. And after some time, that song also you feel little bored, it's also going to end. You want to switch to another channel. Say it's a sports channel, maybe a cricket match is going on, whatever football match is going on, whatever it is, and you feel thrilled while there. You start enjoying that, you start being happy about that. Suppose your team is losing and you feel unhappy, you again want to switch to a different channel. So what are we doing here? So we are not completely living a particular experience. Rather, we are jumping from one experience to the other experience. So we are with one experience, we are with one contact, but we are not seeing its whole cycle. Typically, any phenomena has arising and some sort of a continuation and then ultimately passing away. So rather than seeing the full cycle, what we do is jumping from, say, arising part again to another arising part. Say some sort of phenomena are there, we are experiencing that. Rather than going through the passing away side, knowing the passing away side, experiencing the passing away side, we are jumping towards another object. Never knowing the passing away side, never knowing the cessation side. We don't want to see the cessation side. Now say for example, even in our lives, what we enjoy is the birth. We are having the birthday parties. We like that birthdays. So we want to participate in the birthdays. But the death ceremonies, maybe we want to avoid. We don't want to talk about it. So I want to live my life really beautifully, experience my life beautifully. That is the contact side. And again and again I want to have the arising side, growing side. Such experiences I may like, but I don't want to see the cessation side, the ceasing side, the fading away side. I simply want to avoid it. So this cessation of contact is therefore often hidden to us. We don't want to look at it. Now this is another answer given by Venerable Monk, thinking that this could be the answer given by the Buddha. Now, so this is also another area actually we can work on meditation. Actually here sometimes it is immediately we can't understand the function of the contact. What we usually do is we are working on the one interesting and evident result of the contact. So probably you heard about Passapaccha Vedana. So contact is the proximate cause of the feelings. Now, assume that you are working on the Vedananupassana. So there, in a way, slowly, probably you may be able to even understand the function of the contact. But immediately understand the function of contact could be difficult. So therefore, what we do in our practice is to go through certain feelings. So as you develop certain amount of mindfulness, certain amount of concentration, probably you are able to understand certain feelings. You are practicing Vedananupassana, so pleasurable feelings are there, painful feelings are there, equanimous feelings are there. So likewise, you are able to understand different feelings. Later, probably you might understand, okay, these feelings are dependent on the contact, Passapaccha Vedana. So different feelings are there. Maybe pleasurable feeling has to happen when such kind of a contact takes place. Painful feelings happen when such kind of, say, contact takes place. Equanimous feelings happen when such kind of contact takes place. So the contact is the determining factor. Feeling is fully dependent on the contact. So later you may be able to understand the function of the contact. So this is also a very interesting area where one can start understanding different feelings. Through feelings you go using wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, you are trying to understand the operation of the contact. And interestingly, Buddha actually emphasizes us to see how the contact ceases by seeing its result cessation. Say you are able to see the feeling fades away, feeling passing away. So in order for the feeling to pass away, its cause also has to pass away. The contact also has to pass away. So there's a verse in the Sutta Nipata, Pussa Pussa Vayam Passang Evan Tatta Virajjati. So again and again the contact happens, but that contact is now fading away again and again, so that feeling also fades away. Feeling also disappears. It also dissolves. And when you see that, the whole, the episode become kind of blurred. You can't recognize what kind of feeling are there. So things become very much like disinterested, kind of dispassion arise, because you have seen the fading away side. Fading away, previously it was not prominent, but now you can see how things are passing away, how feelings are passing away, how the corresponding contact passing away. So you are now familiar with that. So in the practice, this is an interesting area. Typically what happens is either we are in the contact or the arising of the contact. We are jumping from one experience to a new experience. So that is how we typically navigate through our life. We are jumping from one experience to a new experience. Never fully living the complete experience. Complete experience actually has the passing away side. Complete experience always has the fading away side. But we want to get rid of that. We don't want to see it. I don't want to go to the funeral, but I maybe like to participate to the wedding ceremony. So that's the attitude we typically have. So the seemstress is the tanha. That's the craving. So craving plays again a kind of a manipulative role here, where craving always help us to establish ourselves in this very pleasant experience. And if that is getting bored, you are even dreaming, fantasizing about a new pleasant experience, forgetting about the cessation side of the experience. So this is another answer given by another venerable monk. Now let's get into the last answer given by the monks. So last answer is actually another type of little deep answer. So what another monk saying is the personal existence, that is what we call the Sakkaya. Sakkaya is one end, Sakkaya Samudaya is the other end, Sakkaya Nirodha is the middle. Sakkaya is actually the 5 clinging aggregates. Sakkaya is a synonym for 5 clinging aggregates. So typically what happens is that we always attach to the aggregates. That's why they become the Upadanakkhandha. When there are various different forms, we attracted to the forms. We become that. When there are interesting feelings, pleasant feelings, we attracted to that, we become that. And similarly, when there are perceptions, thoughts, fabrications, formations, we attracted to that. And when we are going through some personal experience through our senses, we attracted to that. We are staying there. We are making a person there. It becomes a personal experience now. So you are being a person, you experience something. So this is how we are in a way promoting our personality view in a way by attaching to these 5 aggregates. Now the other end, the Sakkaya Samudaya, is actually the cause of the these 5 aggregates. The cause of the 5 aggregates is the tanha, is again the craving. Now craving is continuously going through in our mind. So we being sort of going after one experience and after another experience, always driven by the craving. So we are being extremely influenced by the craving. So very much like, these are very technical, by the way. This sutta is fairly technical. And so what happens is, we are attached to the 5 clinging aggregates, and their cause is the tanha. So again and again, these two are always helping to interpret ourselves as a person. So the personality view, Sakkaya Ditthi, is growing. So this is how we live. But the cessation of the personal existence, that is the Sakkaya Nirodha, that we don't understand. Sakkaya Nirodha is actually cessation of the craving. So the craving, you know that the craving is actually, there are threefold: Kama Tanha, Bhava Tanha, Vibhava Tanha. So we either like beautiful sights, we like beautiful sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles. So those are actually the typical sensual experience that we all like. That's a Kama Tanha. And on the other hand, we want to become someone, we want to go through a continuous happiness, kind of futuristic type of happiness. That's actually governed by the Bhava Tanha. If you are going through some unpleasant experience, I want to quickly get rid of it, so that we can say as the manipulation of the Bhava Tanha. The Vibhava Tanha. So likewise, the craving actually plays a big role here. Now interesting, in the 6th answer, the second end, Sakkaya Samudaya, is also actually the craving. Seamstress is also the craving. Now these are the different answers given by these 6 elder monks. But now they have a kind of a problem, because they were thinking about a particular answer to that verse explained by the Buddha to Tissa Mitteya. Yo bhante viditvana majjhe mantana lippati. So that is the verse. But unfortunately, different monks have different views. Now they want to find out the exact answer from the Buddha. Now they all visited the Buddha and they explained all these answers. Bhante, we want to have the answer to your explanation to given to this Mitteya. So while we were discussing, 6 of us have 6 views, 6 answers. So which answer is correct? So when this is asked from the Buddha say, from different point of view, all your answers are correct. So that's why it's very interesting. So it is not that Buddha denied any of these answers. From different angles, all these answers are correct. So, but what I meant is the contact. So contact is one end, arising of contact is the other end, middle is the cessation of contact. So this is what actually I meant when I was explaining to Tissametteya. So this was the answer that I was meant at that time, but anyway all your answers are correct. Now you can see it's a very interesting kind of a situation that venerable monks have reflected about Buddha's answers. They were investigating about the Dhamma and came up with different answers. Now they want to verify them and again went back to the Buddha, and Buddha giving his own understanding or giving another explanation, helping us to understand the Dhamma in a very different way. And here Abhiññayyam abhijanati pariññayyam parijanati abhiññayyam abhijanato pariññayyam parijanato ditteva dhamme dukkassanta karo hoti. Now you can see each and every of these answers are so powerful. They are helping us to develop our practice. So if we are able to thoroughly understand, directly understand any of these areas, and once they are fully understood, so one may be able to completely free from the suffering. Even though these answers appear like difficult and very technical, but if we are slowly trying to understand them and internalize them, experience these answers, so then it is helping us to go free from the suffering. So that is the beauty. So when I explaining these things, most of you might not understand. Certain answers may be straightforward. That's why I have taken the straightforward answers first. But as we go down, as we go deeper, certain answers are difficult to understand. But more and more we practice, even these difficult answers may be able to understand. So that's the beauty of the Dhamma. That's the beauty of the practice. So at the beginning, certain Dhamma, certain teachings are difficult for us to understand because we haven't experienced them. We simply have heard about them. But as we are continuing our practice, slowly, we may be even able to understand certain difficult answers which we were unable to understand some time back. So similarly, these answers, more and more we investigate, more and more we are look at them from different angles, different insights are possible. Say for example, this taking name as one end, form as the other end, in between the middle as the consciousness is a very, very tricky area. Very difficult to understand actually. But very, very challenging and very interesting area. Often we don't even know that area. We can understand, okay, past is one end, future is the other end, middle is the present, easy to understand. But certain other answers are quite challenging for us to understand, but very, very interesting insights are there if more and more as we are practicing, and when our practice is sometimes in line with any of these answers. So therefore, we can say these answers are certain guidelines to our practice, and probably we can try to see how these are relevant to our own practice. Say for example, if you are practicing mindfulness, the first answer is very, very relevant. So always our mind likes to stay in the past or in the future, never in the present moment, rarely in the present moment. So the mindfulness practice helping us to establish in the present moment, which is often missed by us because of the craving, the function of the craving. Now we are very much like training the mind to live in the present moment, so that we can see that we are trying to very much practically experience in the first answer. Maybe if we are practicing Vedananupassana, then we are trying to understand the second answer, its validity. Say when you are further practicing Vipassana, maybe Dhammanupassana or Ayatana Bhavana, we are trying to understand the third answer with the 6 internal bases, 6 external bases and the function of the consciousness, another area. The name, form, in the middle consciousness is actually a kind of an understanding you might get as we practice maybe Chittanupassana or Dhammanupassana. Contact also very similar. And the personal existence, origin of personal experience, the Sakkaya and Sakkaya Samudaya, these are in a way little challenging, difficult to understand. So we can see the Dhamma promotes investigation. You can see this Sutta promotes investigation. These monks are also investigating what really Buddha has meant in this particular verse. You can see the Parayana Vagga available in the Sutta Nipata are such very philosophical and again arouse our investigation. It's very, very interesting area. And it's very concise, not descriptive. Often they are in the verse. They are verses actually. And answers are given in the verse format. And very concise, very difficult to understand actually. But those are the very, the original teachings of the Buddha. Not very long. These are the authentic teachings of the Buddha. And you can see the answers given in certain suttas, in Sutta Nipata, later being discussed by monks, which is explained in another sutta. That's the Majjhe Sutta. It's very much like a commentary to the answer given to Venerable Tissametteya. It's very interesting how Dhamma has evolved, and later it is now coming to us, for us also to understand and to investigate. So with that note, I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Now I like to open the session for questions, because since this is a little difficult area, if you have any questions, so feel free to ask those questions.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Avasarai Bhante. Thank you for that amazing talk. I was just wondering, from a practical point of view, how, if we were to see I suppose it's mindfulness, but if we see the arising and the passing away of Vedana at that stage, what is the best practice to see the arising, passing, so that we can develop that dispassion or disenchantment?
Actually, that very
practice. The impermanent nature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
actually, that very practice. Actually, that very practice help us to develop the disenchantment. We don't need to particularly do anything. Rather, as we continue to see how impermanent these feelings are, then that very understanding helps to develop the disenchantment or the dispassion. That's a natural effect of the practice. That's why that Buddha interestingly mentioned that Yathabhuta Jnanadasanan Nibbidattam Viragattam. So more you see things clearly, more you understand things as they truly are, it leads to dispassion. It leads to disenchantment. It is not that we are differently producing that. Rather, our goal or our objective is to more and more understand their true nature. More we understand it, dispassion and disenchantment naturally arise.
Thank you, Bhante. So it's really through bhavana,
meditation,
exactly.
Yeah.
To see.
Actually, there may be a situation like, say, you are convinced about their impermanence and you have heard about it. Buddha also has mentioned it. So you have a certain kind of a convincing coming through that. But it's little bit superficial. That's why Buddha sometimes encourage us to see for ourselves rather than simply believing him. So he is inviting us to see for ourselves. Ehipassiko. And certain suttas are directly talking about it. Now, for example, Apana Sutta in the Indriya Sangyutta, where Venerable Sariputta beautifully say, so okay, I have heard about the Dhamma, Say, I have heard that these things are impermanent. I have heard about the Buddha's teaching. I have heard about the faculties, Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. But after continuation of my practice, okay, now I have internalized them. Now I know directly. I know directly through my own experience. So likewise, the practice helps us to really internalize the Buddha's teaching, so that what Buddha mentioned is very much like evident to us at that level. So then dispassion is obvious. Like, it is not that I purposely have to separately practice dispassion. Rather, the vipassana practice itself produces dispassion as a result of the understanding.
Thank you, Bhante. That's very clear. Yeah.
Right.
And inspiring as well. Sadhu.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So going on from there, all these methods, like being in the present, being mindful, you will see the anicca, the impermanence nature of many of the things as you are. Is that what you are indicating? If one is mindful, then they can understand the anicca, dukkha, anatma in our way of life, our life.
Actually, mindfulness alone is not enough. We can say we can start with mindfulness. Later, we have to add clear comprehension into the picture. So that's how typically the practice is very much like scrutinized. Say, we may start with mindfulness and later mindfulness get aligned with the concentration. Now you have samadhi also. And now with the balanced effort, you are supposed to investigate phenomena. If you can refer Anapanasati Sutta, so how the Bojjhangas are being developed. So first you are having fair amount of mindfulness. So while being mindful, Buddha invites us to investigate. Tata sato viheranto tan dhammam panyaya pavichinati pavicharati paramimansang apajjati. So while you are mindful, so whatever the objects that under your very nose, whatever the objects that you are being mindful are supposed to investigate. You need to know their true nature, how they are changing, how they are evolving, or how they are behaving. So that becomes the experiment actually. That is necessary. By mere being mindful, sorry?
Starting with Kaya Anupassana and then you
Maybe.
proceed to Vedana Anupassana and then
Yes.
the Citta Anupassana and then the Dhamma Anupassana of investigating the Dhamma.
Exactly, yes. Now investigating Dhamma there means investigating phenomena. Not that you are reflecting about the different teachings, rather investigating various phenomena. We can simply say the investigating the 5 aggregates.
Okay. That way you are in the process, going through the process to get so to improve yourself and to see the anicca, dukkha, anatta.
Exactly, yeah, correct. So the knowing anicca, dukkha, anatma, we can say is a result of our investigation.
Yeah, seeing it yourself.
Exactly, yes, understanding it for yourself through your own words, through your own experience.
Thank you, Bhante. Theruwan Saranai.
Yeah, Theruwan Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante. I'm Kamini Jayavira.
Yeah.
For your very deep Dhamma talk. I just want to clarify one thing. In that schedule you put the chart, number 4, you said the name, consciousness and form. Name is the first thing, second thing is form, and the middle is consciousness. When you were explaining that, the way I understood, maybe I have misunderstood it. Name is, this is here not the 5 aggregates. Name is the Chetana.
Vedana sanya chetana passa manasikara. Yeah.
Chetana sanya
passa manasikara.
Passa manasikara.
Correct.
And the form is the, you are explaining the outside form. Is it the internal form?
It's the internal, yeah. Actually, from outside form, we pick certain sign what we call the kind of a perception, and that perception is what now we are experiencing. That's what I have taken the example. Say last week you have seen a waterfall. Now, but now you are remembering it. Now you are not in front of the waterfall, but you have a certain picture, certain extract that you have picked from the waterfall. That is the one actually available in your mind now as a mental image. That's the rupa sanya, what we call the a perception of the form. It's not the real form, rather a perception of the form. It's a mental object now, actually.
So the form is Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu.
Right.
It's not you are thinking about your body, but you are explaining about the outside form. That's where the confusion is.
No, even about your body. Now, say if you close your eyes and you are trying to imagine about your body, and there also it's appear like a mental image. So you can perceive where my hands are, where my head is, etc., etc. So likewise, so basically you may be basically trying to figure out mentally where the body is. In such case, we can say there also it is kind of a mental. So basic point is that it is not the physical object we are talking here, rather it is the mental impression appearing in your mind. That is what represented in the consciousness screen.
Okay, Bhante, thank you.
Yeah. Samantha Jayatilika, you can go ahead again.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Just a question that came to my mind, like the consciousness. So it's like just one fabric, and then there are different fixed consciousnesses, and other than like in the dependent origination, you got the sankhara consciousness, and then nama rupa.
Mm-hmm.
So the all the karmas, the sankhara karmas, the past karmas, that seems to be like transferred or embedded into the moving consciousness, to the next life. And so
no, actually here,
name,
here actually it is more applicable to the present experience. So how we are being driven to the present experience. So we don't need to take it to a past life, future life, present life. Rather, let's apply it to a kind of a experience. That's why, say for example, you remember that waterfall. You have seen that waterfall last week, but now you are remembering that experience. So in such case, what happened? So you remember it as a very beautiful experience, very fantastic, wonderful experience. So various certain impressions are appearing in your mind. Various episodes, various mental images are appearing in your mind. Now, so that is what helping to establish ourselves. Oh, I am the one who has seen. It's really so beautiful experience. So likewise, I start proliferating on it, dreaming about it, and maybe I want to write a poem about it. Now, this is how we are, fabricating the whole thing. I am attracted to that. This craving help us to get attracted to that. Now, all that being appeared in the consciousness. All that is appeared in the consciousness. Consciousness is very much like the screen. Our consciousness has the ability to reflect back.
So the Vedana, Sanya and all that, are they part of?
No, they are the very
embedded in the consciousness.
Exactly. Very much like, say, when you remember the waterfall, so you maybe have a very pleasant feeling again, even though you are not in front of it. You may be happy about you still feel the happiness, the joy that you have had, and you can recognize the mental image. This is the waterfall. So that is the perception part. And probably again you need to go there. You want to visit next week also. That is the intention part. So you are now fabricating that intention also. Vedana sanya tetana passa. Now the contact is there. Now the mind is well in line or latched with that particular object, and your full attention is with that object now. You are in a dream world now, fantasizing world.
Right, okay. And it's the craving running
Behind,
underneath,
exactly.
Behind it, with the proliferation.
Exactly.
That is causing us to...
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhakti.
Yeah. Sheranga, please go ahead.
Avasaraya Hamdurane.
Yeah.
I've been practicing Satipatthana for some time now, and then I've experiencing that Upeksha stage all the time. But what has happening recently is, like, let's say that if I plan go for a walk for 1 hour walking meditation, I can't really focus like before. I'm not any forcing or anything. I can't focus. But in a very random time, all the other times, let's say I'm walking to office, or even from my desk, walking to the office kitchen, very short period, and I'm thinking about my work, but at that time I can see my feet touching the ground. All the very random times, it's very automatic process. I can't even remember about walking meditation, but I could see my feet touching the ground very clearly and constantly, even if I don't want to. But if I really plan, and I can't focus like that it's a kind of like all over the place at the moment. So it's like, so recently it's kind of like increasing, the automatic process is increasing, and then kind of if I plan, it's not happening, kind of a thing.
Probably it may be true, because the planning is actually taking you to some excess effort. You make things in balance, then you can't see things clearly. But when it happens very naturally, without much effort, in a way we can say it's with the balance effort, then you can see things properly. So therefore, balancing our effort is one crucial part of our practice, because sometimes we are too much enthusiastic about the situation and we are exerting too much effort, then everything gets messed up. But if we allow things to happen very naturally, smoothly, then things are happening beautifully.
So that means, Hamdurane, like, I can't like go for a walk and plan, and then it just normally walk, or?
Yes, definitely. You have to normally walk. I mean, because that's why in the walking meditation, we are not expecting any artificial kind of purposeful walking. Rather, allow the body to naturally walk as much as possible, and you simply enjoy it, allowing the body to naturally walk, and slowly look at what's really going on, each and every contact, each and every experience, each and every sensation. So very much like you are allowing the body to walk naturally. It's very much like someone else's body now. You simply maintaining a CCTV when someone else is walking, something like that.
Okay, Hamdurane, another thing I have noticed is like I'm kind of with this Upeksha thing, kind of like a feeling of like half dead. So it's like sometimes I can't even remember certain things, even my work. Like let's say like if I think about yesterday, I really have to put an effort and think of the things that I have, and even at work I feel the same. Like I really have to put some effort, or I don't know whether I'm feeling that tiredness of putting effort. It's like because of that feeling, it's like you are like half that kind of a feeling all the time.
Actually, with the practice, at the early stage, we may improve our memory. You know that we often forget about things because we are dreaming about the future, or worrying about the past, so we can't remember the things. But more and more we develop mindfulness, we try to stay in the present moment, so our memory power increasing. Maybe, but later with Vipassana, by seeing things clearly, we feel okay, not worthy of holding things, not worthy of attracted to things, not worthy of grasping things. So mind starts dropping things. In that cycle, in that process, we may experience certain loss of memory. You have gone through the past yesterday activities, but now you can't remember it because mind keep dropping things. Mind doesn't want to hold and get burdened by it. So this is happening maybe at a later stage. Probably you are going through that sort of an experience, but you may have to balance it. Probably you can maintain a diary, you can use your phone reminders, etc. Because likewise you have to be a little strategic to go through it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bhante, for explaining that. Much merit to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, those are the questions we have. Srinitha, probably you can, if you have any note, you can go through. Otherwise, I have received your sharing of merits.
Thero and Sanai Bhante, I'd like to say my thank yous now. I have no words to thank you very well, Bhante, for this profound and deep Dhamma sermon you delivered to us. You spoke very clearly that whichever way one looks at these answers of the 6 monks, craving the seamstress will bind us to samsara. As I understood from your sermon, contact at one end, the arising of contact at the other end, the cessation of contact in the middle, the past at one end, the future at the other end, and the present moment in the middle. Pleasant feeling at one end, painful feeling at the other end, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant in the middle. Name at one end, form at the other end, and consciousness in the middle. The 6 internal senses at one end, the 6 external senses at the other end, and consciousness in the middle. Personal existence at one end, the origin of personal existence at the other end, and the cessation of personal existence in the middle. Craving the seamstress will bind us and drag us through life continuum, in whichever way you look at it. One must contemplate on these teachings of the Buddha you explained so well. I wonder, looking at the middle, especially of the cessation of contact in the middle, whether this is nirvana, the original, uncorrupted, unconstructed, original nirvana dhatu.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking for nirvana when we are already dissolved into nirvana, which is not a place or a thing. Everything else, not seeing the true nature of life, the psychophysical phenomenon, not seeing the magic show of the mind, we are deceived by the magic show and think there's a me, mine, and myself. And we continue in this frightening and perilous journey in samsara. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Venerable Bhante. Do you think one could look at it like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's very profound the way that you have interpreted things, and this the order what you have mentioned is the exact order available in the Sutta, and as you said, the middle, that the cessation of contact, passa nirodha. Typically we can see it is not the mere ceasing of the contact. You know that any contact has arising and passing away. So that is the typical ceasing of the contact is something quite obvious. But rather than saying so, Buddha says ceasing of contact, passa nirodha. There is a path for the passa nirodha. That is the Noble Eightfold Path. Passa nirodha gamini patipada is actually the Noble Eightfold Path. So, as we develop the Noble Eightfold Path, what we are realizing is the Nibbana. So any of these middles, therefore, very much like giving some indication to Nibbanic experience. Say, if we are able to live ourselves in the present moment, and again being aware of even the equanimous feelings, and later maybe when one is practicing vipassana, Buddha promotes that being equanimous to all the formations very deeply from the vipassana point of view, and actually promotes the cessation of the established consciousness. You are not supposed to hold anything, you are not supposed to establish on anything. Buddha is talking about the apatitthica vijnana, the unestablished consciousness. So there are the cessation of the consciousness. On that conditioned consciousness, Buddha is asking us to, okay, let it cease. And again the cessation of the contact, that is the Noble Eightfold Path is the way to achieve it. So likewise, these things are very deeply explained here and there at various suttas. In essence, we can say, okay, we have to practice the Noble Eightfold Path so that we can maybe realize the Nibbana.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Also, please accept my absolute gratitude for your teachings of the Buddha Dhamma. We wish you good health, a long life, and may you be able to continue your teachings for many more years to come. Okay. And also I wish to thank our Venerable Chief Monk at the Adelaide Temple for giving me the opportunity to invite the Venerable Bhante to conduct this sermon, and our committee for their support. I also wish to thank Premalal, Priyanka, Suranga, Chamila, and my friends who circulated my invitation to their contacts and helped me in numerous ways. Last but not least, I wish to thank all of you attendees for your participation, because without you, we couldn't have had this meeting. May we all develop mindfulness and wisdom to stop the seamstress from spinning us around the cycle of births and deaths in samsara. Thero and Satnai, many blessings, Swami Hansa. So I'll let you conclude with your usual blessings.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, actually I have received your sharing of merits. You particularly want to share the merits. You want to blessings for on behalf of your family, your deceased parents, your deceased husband, 2 sisters, 2 brothers, and grandparents, and whoever deceased in your circle, in your family. And also you want to share merits, offer blessings to your children who seems maybe having some health issues. Anyway, now all we have gathered and listened to the Dhamma sermon and participated to the Dhamma discussion. We were able to accrue some merits. We share these merits with all the past relatives and with all celestial beings and whoever in need of merits. And we wish these merits help us also to attain path fruition Nibbana. I also like to specially thank the Venerable Bhante, who is in the Adelaide Vihara, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you very much. And we'll do the traditional sharing of merits by reciting the verses. Ettavataca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavataca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavataca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mamparang. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා සාදු සාදු සාදු